When did you realize your wife never loved you? My wife Lauren and I had been married for 6 years, and I couldn't figure out what I was doing wrong. I planned fancy date nights and booked couples therapy, but she was always too tired or too busy to really engage with any of it. 6 years of the same dead routine. Every night I'd get home at 6 and Lauren would already be locked in the guest room on her important client calls. I'd make dinner for both of us and eat alone while hers got cold on the counter. She'd come out around 8 and microwave her plate without saying thanks. Every Friday I'd plan these elaborate date nights, and she'd show up like it was a work meeting she had to attend. Saturday mornings I'd suggest brunch, and she'd already have plans with her college friends that she forgot to mention. She managed all our finances because she said her marketing degree made her better with money. I handed over my paychecks and never questioned the $5,000 monthly credit card bills. She always promised we'd start trying for kids next year. Next year never came, but I trusted her completely. This was my wife, the woman I'd chosen to build a life with. After 6 years of her avoiding every event I planned, the one thing she couldn't skip was her own 35th birthday dinner at this fancy steakhouse downtown. She'd invited about 10 people herself and made all the arrangements months in advance like she always did with everything. Her best friend Monica from college kept ordering bottles of expensive wine for the table to celebrate. By the third glass, Lauren was laughing louder than I'd heard in years, and her carefully controlled demeanor was starting to slip. Monica kept refilling her glass and encouraging her to relax, while I watched my usually uptight wife become someone I didn't recognize. The waiters had just brought out the birthday cake when Monica asked Lauren to make a speech. Lauren stood up unsteadily with her wine glass and started rambling about turning 35. She was slurring her words as she talked about patience and planning and how good things come to those who wait. Then she looked right at me and said, 6 years down and only one more to go. She raised her glass higher and added, 1 more year and I can finally leave this miserable life behind and start fresh. Monica grabbed her arm and whispered something urgent, but Lauren just kept smiling at me with this strange, bitter look. The table went quiet and people exchanged uncomfortable glances. Lauren's face suddenly drained of color as she seemed to realize what she was saying. She quickly sat down mumbling about being too drunk, but I felt my stomach drop as the pieces started clicking together. That night after everyone left, Lauren stumbled to the bathroom and I could hear her retching from all the wine. When she finally emerged, her makeup was smeared and she wouldn't meet my eyes as she tried to brush past me toward the bedroom. I followed her down the hall, asking what she meant about leaving her miserable life, and she kept waving me off saying she was just drunk and didn't know what she was saying. I went to our shared home office and sat down at her laptop while she stood in the doorway watching me with her arms crossed. The browser was still open from earlier that day, and my hands started shaking as I clicked through the tabs she'd left up. There were 3 different divorce lawyer websites with consultation appointments already scheduled for next week. Another tab showed apartment rentals in Seattle with several marked as favorites. The worst was an online calculator where she'd plugged in my exact salary down to the dollar to calculate monthly alimony payments after 7 years of marriage. I clicked on her search history and saw she'd been visiting these same sites every single day for the past 3 months while I was at work. Lauren walked over and looked at the screen over my shoulder and just shrugged. She told me in this flat voice that she'd married me for financial security, and the 7-year alimony mark was always her exit plan, and she'd never felt anything for me beyond mild tolerance. Everything from our entire marriage suddenly made perfect sense. Every career decision where she'd pushed me toward whatever paid more, even if it made me miserable. I'd turned down my dream job because she convinced me we needed the bigger salary from the corporate position. She insisted we live in this expensive house that required my bonus every year just to afford. My parents died 2 years ago believing I had this perfect marriage because I protected her reputation. I spent 2,000 nights sleeping alone while she was planning her payday in the next room. All those therapy sessions where I blamed myself and wondered what I could do differently to earn her love. I filed for divorce that Monday with all the screenshots printed. My lawyer said her fraud meant no alimony at all. The divorce took 3 months and she had to pay my legal fees. She moved back with her parents in Ohio at 35 while I kept everything.